Grief doesn't just live in your chest. Sometimes it stands outside your window at 3 a.m., hooded, waiting for you to finally be brave enough to let it in. And when you look toward the window, there it is, a shape, dark, still, just standing there behind the glass, wrapped in something that seems to absorb the light around it. This has been happening for 11 nights in a row. What would you do? Because the person in this story did something most of us would never dare. They opened the window. My name is not important right now. What matters is what happened to someone who refused to be afraid anymore, and what they found on the other side of that glass. Let's start at the beginning. Josh had just moved into the apartment on Caldwell Street after a difficult divorce. 3rd floor, corner unit, the kind of place that feels a little too quiet when you are used to sharing a life with someone. He told himself the silence would help him heal. The first night he saw the figure, he convinced himself it was a shadow from a passing car. The second night, he blamed the street lamp outside. By the 5th night, he stopped making excuses. It was tall, always hooded, never moved. It simply appeared between midnight and 4 in the morning, positioned just beyond the glass, as though it had always belonged there. Josh described the feeling as not quite fear, but something deeper, something ancient, like a memory your body carries that your mind has forgotten. He started keeping a journal, dates, times, weather, his emotional state. What he noticed was staggering. Every time the figure appeared, Josh had been thinking about his late father, a man who died before they could reconcile. The guilt Josh carried was enormous. He had never spoken about it to anyone. On the 11th night, instead of pulling the curtain closed, Josh sat up. He watched the figure, and for the first time, the figure seemed to respond. It tilted its head just slightly, the way someone does when they recognize you across a crowded room. Josh walked to the window and opened it. Cold air rushed in. The street below was empty, but sitting on the windowsill was a single photograph, one he had never seen before. His father, young, smiling, holding an infant version of Josh with an expression of complete and total pride. On the back, in handwriting Josh did not recognize, were 4 words: I was always there. Now here is where this story splits in 2 directions, and you get to decide which one you believe. Either Josh was experiencing grief-induced hallucinations that his mind shaped into something he needed to see, or something genuinely crossed a threshold that night to deliver a message that a living person never could. Psychologists have documented cases where intense, unresolved grief manifests in visual experiences, but they also admit that some things resist clean explanation. What do you think visited Josh every night? Leave your answer below, and if you have ever experienced something you could not explain, share it, because the most terrifying stories are always the ones that feel completely real.